And I believe it's important for manager and fighter to have close relationship and to have trust between each other. I trust them as a professional with their preparation. If they need something from me, I believe they will come and tell me what they need. And I'm sure I will do everything in my power to help them, to make sure they have a great preparation.
Okay, welcome back. This is now part 2 of the Fruiting Body podcast. You're now seeing it on Thursday at 6 p.m. Enjoy.
We'll see.
When it turns into the communication and these layers of communication, at any point do, let's say, the manager of Justin Gaethje, which I believe is Ali, and yourself, do you guys get in talk, or is it always separated by the UFC and you're kind of communicating through them?
I mean, like Danny and Ali, they live in Vegas. You know, they can meet at the dinner. They see each other at events all the time. They talk. So it's not a problem. And usually, and it's good for managers to communicate, because, you know, matchmaker can tell you one thing, but actually it's another thing. So it's always good to have some extra information. You know.
You never know. Like, I mean, like anything in business, it's I mean, we're not playing checkers here. We're playing chess. So how that communication is going around is interesting. Yeah. I was watching a video earlier last week, and it was from a UFC fighter. I can't recall his name, but he's not that famous. And he was kind of, grab some water, no worries. He was kind of explaining the different levels of the roles and responsibilities of a manager that they can play. And he said, well, there's essentially 3 tiers. One was, okay, they're going to negotiate your fight contract. That's one level of a manager. Level 2 would be they'll negotiate your contract and sponsorships. And then level 3, they'll negotiate your contracts, sponsorships, and they'll be involved in your life personally and possibly helping out with the admin side. Plane tickets, hotels, you know, maybe there's problems with your family, their friends, they'll jump on a phone call with you. What type of manager are you?
Me personally, I can say the third type, full package. Because, you know, these guys were my friends before I started to work with them. And we have this relationship, close relationship. And I believe it's important for manager and fighter to have close relationship and to have trust between each other. If you don't trust your manager, you know, nothing gonna good happen, you know. And with me, I try to keep it like more professional, not being like every day on the phone with them. Like, I trust them as a professional with their preparation. If they need something from me, I believe they will come and tell me what they need. And I'm sure I will do everything in my power to help them, to make sure they have a great preparation, they have a great fight coming up, they have a great matchup. So we talk a lot, we plan a lot. So it's a lot of like, how to say?
It's a collaboration. You're working on it together.
Yeah.
Meaning like for example, earlier in the careers of maybe Fiziev, I'm assuming at this point, you're the one reaching out to find sponsorships. Is that a correct assumption? Like, you're trying to find sponsorships for them, and you're going to have that talk with, hey, I'm going to get on the company, I'm going to get on the phone with these 10 guys. Which ones are you interested in? Is it that type of collaboration at that level?
Yeah, still till now talking to.
So built on that, how has things changed? Meaning, a guy like Petr Yan, Rafael Fiziev, let's say, and obviously Shavkat Rakhmonov. That's probably more up and coming, and less people understand who he is. But the guy's 10-0. They will know very
16-0, 8
professional.
submissions.
UFC 10-0, isn't he? Or
in UFC, he have like 4 fights, 4 finishes.
Sorry, yeah. But no one's gonna want to fight him. He's like a Hamza Chimaev. No one wants to fight the guy.
Without a hype.
But these guys like Rafael Fiziev and Petr Yan at the start of their career, I'm assuming again you're reaching out to sponsorships because that's, you know, it's part of the business. You're trying to find them sponsors. At which point in their careers does it change to people reaching out to you?
Well, once they enter like top 15, top 10, obviously there are more opportunities. But compared to when Petr won the belt, it's completely different game, you know. When you're a champion, there's a lot of opportunities, and the numbers are much different. So sometimes it's better not to sign any long-term deals with sponsors when you're coming up for smaller numbers. Wait, don't work with some, you know, questionable companies, businesses, but wait till the big company come to you or you come to them, and they will be willing to work with you. Because for example, in our countries, the way people view like a betting companies is not in a positive way, it's very negative way. So if you're like sponsored by the betting company, your reputation already is kind of, you know, damaged, you know, and it can affect you getting like maybe bigger sponsor in the future. So with some of these guys, sometimes my advice is like to reject some sponsors, you know, not to work with them, and wait till the big one comes, you know. It's better to have one big sponsor than like 3, 4, 5 smaller ones, like questionable business.
We won't bring that up. So when you're working with like Petr Yan and you're signing these deals, is it coming when you're dealing with a champion? Are they starting to get endorsements from all? Is it predominantly going to be like the U.S. and Canada and Russia? But are you also getting contacts from like the Brazilian market to put sponsors into them as well?
No, usually it's local markets. You know, for Petr is Russia, like for Rafael is Azerbaijan. You know, so usually it's local businesses, local partners, and still the problem for the MMA is not a lot of like major companies want to be involved because they probably see it as some violent sport, but I believe there's a lot of opportunities for some companies to expand and to reach out to the audience through MMA fighters, because MMA fighters have a big audience, and the entry level to sponsor MMA fighters is lower than like sponsor some tennis player, soccer player, football player.
Yeah, it's not like Rolex or...
Yeah, so I believe for companies it's a good opportunity to sponsor MMA fighters, and I wait till the day when the like major companies, like
well, it's much more
like Nike, you know, like stuff like that, we're gonna sponsor MMA fighters.
Yeah, it's still a niche sport, a niche market, which is a good thing because then the audience it's more targeted as well. So I mean, more likely they are the buyers of.
But there always like opportunity to reach wider audience, like guys like Conor. People who don't watch UFC, they know Conor, and
but that's like Conor. I think he's the outlier amongst outliers, and that's because I mean of his character, and everyone is trying to that. Maybe Hamzat, but let's see. These guys like Fiziev's English is definitely it's better than Petr Yan's. Is there any pressure, or do you have to put pressure on your fighters to be like, just learn English, because if you do that, you can maybe double up your audience?
I mean, it's no secret. If you speak English, good English, you know, your career in UFC, you'll get more opportunities, and obviously wider audience. If English fans, they know what you're saying, know what you're about, you know, they're gonna follow you, and obviously it's gonna help with sponsors too. But to finish the topic with sponsors, like another like problem that. Not like problem, but the specifics that I have working with fighters from our regions, especially like Muslim fighters, they cannot work with betting companies. They cannot promote alcohol like Conor, you know. So there's limits potential opportunities, and for me and for them. But you know, for me, I support it because. Still, you know, fighters, they're like role models. And if the best MMA fighter promoting alcohol and betting companies and kids watch it, you know, it's not good. So it's not all about only money, you know, it's also about being a good example, good role model too.
Yeah, and I don't foresee them banning that stuff anytime soon. And a lot of these, like, not just, I mean, podcasts and people that are vlogging, they, I mean, stake Apparently, we can't say people are getting banned for saying the DOTCOM. If you say that on like on video now, like of whatever that is, that your whole channels can get like completely banned. But I think that's a good thing not to be involved in those betting communities, because at the end of the day, actually you're just going to be making money off your fans, because they're going to come on, you're going to give them some promo giveaway, they're going to go lose, who knows, $1,000, and obviously you're getting some sort of kickback. So it's a fine line there as well. Do you ever wake up in the morning and I mean, a lot of this has kind of just happened day by day. It didn't seem like there was this big roadmap plan to be this UFC manager superstar. Do you ever wake up one day and, you know, look at like, how the hell did this all happen?
Yeah, usually like I like to look like 3 years or 5 years back, and seeing like 5 years ago, I couldn't imagine I'll be in this position today. So I use this perception to appreciate what I have right now, and to also understand that 5 years from now, I also don't know what's going to happen. The stuff that I can't even imagine going to happen. Good things can happen, you know, that like I can be involved in other industry, or I can achieve these things that I'm not even thinking about. So I always try to keep this open mind and positive thinking, and have this perception, you know, if you want to, I believe if you want to achieve like a greater things, bigger thing you want, first you have to appreciate what you have right now. If you appreciate what you have right now, you're gonna get more in the future too, you know.
Yeah, and it's still your fighters, they're still very relevant. I mean, some managers, you know, maybe their fighters get closer to the end of their career, but you, again, guys like Shavkat Rakhmonov, I mean, he's just getting started. Are there any other fighters that you're managing that are sleepers that like maybe the audience or someone like myself should look into a little bit more? Because again, back to Rakhmonov, it's like I kind of jumped on him about 3 fights ago when his dominant performances. So again, the question is, there anyone else we should be looking at that you're currently managing that's maybe more of a sleeping underdog that no one's really aware of?
I mean, like all those guys I mentioned already, they have potential to be champions. Like, if you don't know who's Movsar Evloev is, go watch his fights. If you don't know who's Arman Tsarukyan is, go watch his fights. Sure, you know, their performances speaks for itself. And if you're a fan of like combat sports or martial arts, you're gonna love what they do. At least follow them, and because they deserve your attention, you know. And obviously, we want more casual fan base also to know them, to support them, because that's how you get fast tracked in UFC. If casual fans know you, you know, you're gonna get opportunities and title shots.
Well, yeah, Arman, he just had that war. It's pretty much a split decision. Anyone could have won that fight. Like, it was some fights you watch and you feel bad for the judges. It's just so close. He fought Gamro. I mean, that fight, it's interesting. So that kind of reminds me of maybe 5-6 years ago, Leon Edwards versus Usman. Yeah. You're watching champions fight way too soon. And especially after that, you're like, oh, don't worry, his career's fine. It's just the timing is just, that technically could be a championship fight.
Yeah, it was such a high level, and I believe that's how MMA in the future gonna look like. You know, they just showed the next level of mixed martial arts, and guys training and watching now, looking at this fight, they know now that to compete at the level, you just not enough to have like a great striking and like okay wrestling, grappling. You have to be great at everything, you know, and you have to be great at mixing it up. And this fight is just showed just that, you know.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. And you start to watch these, even the early prelims, these up-and-coming fighters, maybe they're 25, 26, like, it's so competitive now that, I mean, like you said, once you get to these top 5s and top 10s in maybe 5 years, I think every fight is going to be extremely high level. When you're watching some of these fights, now I saw you have your blue belt in jiu-jitsu, right? Did you go up from there?
I've been purple belt
for
almost 8 years already.
So, and I also saw you were doing MMA yourself at much younger.
Yeah, I had one amateur fight. I just did it like, you know, just for fun, just to test myself, to have this experience, because, you know, once my good friend and coach before, Von Anderson, he told me, like, if you afraid of something, you have to do it. So that's something that, you know, thrilled me and excited me. So I ended up having an MMA fight in China, in Beijing. I won that. And, you know, it's a good experience. It's good, you know, to overcome, you know, to get out of your comfort zone. And maybe also this mindset that helped me, you know, also in MMA business too, you know.
Did you weight cut for that?
No, I just skipped the breakfast. You know.
See, that's one thing. A lot of people, they'll want to conquer a marathon or whatnot. For me, I'm never going to go into an MMA fight. But me and Hans were talking. I said, I want to, and I told Woody down at Bang, probably in the next year or so, I want to do like a real, like maybe an 8 to 10 week camp, maybe 8 weeks, something similar, just like an MMA fighter would. Now, I don't need to be sparring everyone and then actually do the weight cut just to kind of like that would be my marathon because I think what those guys go through, and especially at the end with those weight cuts, I mean, that's got to be they're mentally you get to see it firsthand. Like when they're doing those weight cuts is right up, coming up to the fight. Like, are they just so used to it that it's fine? Or are there points in those nights where they're actually like mentally like, you know, on the verge of like,
I'd say they're never like nice weight cuts, you know. There's the part I hate the most. So I usually don't encourage my fighters to cut a lot of weight, to have these extreme weight cuts, because it's, you know, it's bad for your health. It's best for your long-term health. So if you want to do it, you know, you have to know like what are you getting in exchange, what price you're paying, and what you're getting in exchange, because it's not good for your health, you know, the weight cuts. So yeah. It's like most miserable time.
Yeah, you can see some of them.
Yeah, it's very stressful, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think, well, Hamzat, he didn't finish his weight cut on the last one. Who knows what happened on there?
Yes, because I see the fans, they start to like hate on him, attack him, you know. But me being in this business, like first thing I saw that like we don't know what happened. Maybe he got a health problem and stuff, because I had experience with my fighters too, you know. You never know what's gonna happen. The weight cuts, like, it doesn't matter if you had like 20, 30 successful weight cuts before. Every weight cut is something new, because your body changes, you get older, and stuff that worked before, they may not work this time, you know. So
yeah, and especially, I mean, it must put a lot of pressure on the organs as well. I mean, it's...
Yeah, for sure.
Now, are you permanently in Phuket? You're down at Chalong near Tiger Muay Thai. Where do you spend most of your time throughout the year?
Yeah, so I'm based in Phuket. My wife, my son is here, my family is here. And I just do like trips for the tournaments, for events. And usually like during the pandemic, because I had to do the quarantine, you know, I would spend like 6 months away in total throughout the year. But now it's really depends on the schedule. For example, in June, I had like 8 guys fighting in the time frame of 6 weeks. So for these 6 weeks, I had to stay in the States, in Vegas most of the time. And yes, it's like kind of, you know, because most events are in USA, so you have to travel, you know, the travel is like at least 24 hours.
I've done that like I think 10 times, and every time it's a nightmare.
So this is the hardest part, you know, and you cannot do it like every month, you know. So usually I take breaks. I spend like 2-3 months in Phuket, then I go for events, spend time there, come back. So it really depends on the schedule.
Well, at least you're managing, so you can kind of coordinate those schedules of those fights as best as you can. So you're planning fighters. Okay, if I got to go over there, and I know all these events have to be in Vegas, you can kind of plan that accordingly. I mean, most people, it's quite rare. I mean, I've done the flight at least 10 times. I've lived in Asia 12 years, so I used to go every year, every 6 months. What's your strategy or your system to getting on that flight and getting prepared?
Obviously, you have to be hydrated. Usually, before the flight, you know, I try to make a good stretch. I take like double dose of vitamin C, you know, to make sure your blood, you know, like the circulation is good. I use this compression socks,
Same.
you know.
Oh man, same. Yeah.
When I book, like obviously you have to get a online check-in first, book the seats, look at the good seats, you know. Right now I always look at the deals for the upgrades and stuff like that, because the longer flight, if
Are you always doing the pods? Are you kind of business, economy? Or are you just moving it around?
depends, you know, depends.
Yeah, because sometimes the economy alone can be, I've seen the prices, they can be crazy enough.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I try to do the pods, because once you kind of get into them, it's hard to get out.
Yeah.
Once you've been down that. But the compression socks, that took me about like 6 flights to figure out. Because those flights without the compression socks, the next week when you get out, there's just not the right blood flow in your legs. You feel terrible. And especially everyone knows when you have dress shoes, you might not be able to get them on. Like it's extremely tight as well.
Yeah. And the most important stuff, what you do after you land, I believe, you know, to fight the jet lag.
Yeah. So what do you do?
So if you arrive, like, because you come to the States and it's quite different time, you have to adjust to different time zone. So usually it's better to wait till the evening to go to sleep, you know, take some melatonin or take some CBD, because you don't sleep well. Usually wake up in the middle of the night, and then, you know, the whole day is ruined. So and for the third day, usually like first 2 days I don't sleep well. That's why I take melatonin or CBD, so I have a good night's sleep. And the third day, usually when you kind of your body shuts down and you can sleep for 12, 13 hours. So you have to be aware of that too, you know.
Yeah, that's always the rough, because it is a 12-hour difference basically. And
yeah.
I mean, yeah, same. You get there, you try to go to bed at even 10 o'clock at night. You're going to wake up in 2 hours, and it's...
When you go there, it's kind of okay. But when you come back, it's like the worst, you know.
Coming back here.
If you go there, for example, for a week, you spend there, you kind of, at the end of the week, you already adjusted to the American time zone, and then you have to come back and adjust again. Usually I've been like, for 1 week or 2 weeks, I'm just trying to get back, you know, on track.
Yeah, and you don't want to be, that's the thing, traveling like, you know, 1 month there, 1 month back. It's much better if you're over there 3 months as well. It's for me personally, like if I go, it'll just be Canada and maybe go in the summertime, like July, August or something. Do you make a lot of trips back to Kazakhstan?
Yeah, like recently, yes. Like next week, I'm actually gonna go for the event to Kazakhstan. So this will be my like third time this year. But usually it's like once a year, just to go there for holidays, to see family, stuff like that. Yeah.
Now, living in Phuket, someone like myself, I've been here 6 years now. I think 2016 I came. I've kind of decided, I think this is home for life. I mean, living in Asia so long, again, I lived in Shenzhen, Beijing, it's not, maybe you have a different experience. It's not an easy city, Beijing. It's quite polluted, as everyone knows. But Phuket in particular, it's got to be one of the best cities to live, if not, definitely in all of Southeast or Asia, but maybe in the world. I mean, we have international schools, you have everything you need, the training facilities, the beach, you know, the grocery stores, you got everything you need here. I can't even imagine another city besides maybe Singapore, but no, I think it's just, you know, it's too robotic. Do you see yourself, this will be you for life staying here?
I also like, we have like similar experience, like living in China and then moving to Phuket. So Beijing, I had a great time in Beijing because it was my student times, university times, but also like I had enough of it. Like I lived there for 9 years. So the last year I couldn't wait to get away from there because the pollution, it was too much. And then moving to Phuket, it was such a big contrast because Beijing is like big city life, high tempo, and I loved it. But then I got over it all, and when I moved to Phuket, I just fell in love with the place, and Phuket have everything. Now, like becoming a parent, also you look at the schools. Schools are great. Medical stuff is, you can get a world-class medication here, like the hospitals. food, weather, you know, I don't know. For me, it's a great place to live. I'm used to it. And usually I travel a lot, and I try to picture myself living in that place, and nothing beats Phuket yet. And as you said also, like living such a long time in Asia, like 9 years in China, now 8 years in Phuket, it's gonna be very hard, you know, to transition to live in the States or to live in Europe, I believe.
Yeah, people don't, after you leave here, I mean, I go back to Canada, but I mean, the fact that, okay, you were coming, I'm like, I need to get water. I have my car, I'm like, I'll just jump on the motorbike, throw it in the 7-Eleven, I'll throw 4 bottles on there, the big ones, and drive back. It's the luxury, you don't get that even in a major city in Canada. I mean, you got to get your motorbike maybe out of the parking garage and then somehow find parking, throw in a helmet. There's just so many rules and regulations going on that Phuket is just, there's many things that we don't have to worry about living here, and that's why I could foresee myself staying here for pretty much ever.
You can have like a really high quality lifestyle here, and also this is like a kind of, you can say it's like a hub. You can meet a lot of people here, especially for me, fighters coming here for the fight camps. I can meet new fighters, potential champions in the future. So for me personally, it's a good place. As I see it for my son, it's also a great place to grow up. My wife loves it. So, and also talking to other people who lived in Phuket and then moved to other places, all of them, they want to come back.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't want to make the same mistake, you know.
Yeah, where would you, to be honest, there's nowhere else to go. I mean, have you been to like Bali before? Or?
No, I never.
Yeah, see, these places, it's just motorbike traffic. Singapore, it's too robotic. KL is just another big city. There's really nowhere else. And I would never live in Bangkok. And to be honest, maybe I'll go there once a year. I'm once you lived in China long enough, you kind of leave that city life.
Yeah.
The other thing, well, I guess we could share the similar story. It's funny when you live in Thailand, especially Phuket, a long time, and you see other foreigners, and you know they get angry at the little things at a restaurant. The dish is wrong, and I look at them. I'm like, in China, sometimes they don't even remember to bring your food. And like, how many times here have like, okay, they bring the wrong dish. You're like, you know what? I ordered pad thai, but I like lap gai. Yeah, sure, I'll eat that. And then you'll see some foreigners, maybe they just came from the Western world and they just came to Phuket, and you can watch them where like every little thing bothers them. And kind of the point back to you is like living in China has made me personally just so thick-skinned that nothing can really go wrong here that I haven't already seen that was 20 times worse over there.
We have a saying like, if you lived in China, you don't laugh at the circus, you know, because the stuff you experience there, you know, it's definitely was a good experience in China. And me, living abroad since I was 16, I just learned to, like, first of all, you don't come to the new place with your own set of rules. You have to adapt, and also you have opportunity to learn and something good for yourself, you know, to get better from this culture, something for you. Then I moved here to Thailand. I learned from Thai people. I learned from locals, you know. And for example, the good example is like traffic here. No one like use the horns, you know. Like anywhere in the world, it's hard to find a place like this, you know.
Well, especially India, my God.
Yeah, like the craziest place I've been with this is Lebanon. Like the like traffic will stop. Like for example, there will be some reason it's not going through. And people will non-stop, you know, like horns. And like here, and the place where you live and like the people you live, like your close circle, you know, they shape who you are. And I believe it's us living here, you know, made us more calmer, you know, more like.
Well, and the ocean and the beach, I mean, yeah, you could be in traffic, but you can smell the sea breeze from, you know, coming through the car. It's hard to be, you know, to be sour or angry or upset living in Phuket. It's too easy, the lifestyle. Yeah.
But also like, I believe like key to happiness is how you evaluate things. Like something can happen to you and depends how you look at it. This is type of emotion you're going to get. If something happened to you and then look at it negative way, then you're going to have negative emotions. But if you try to find like positive doesn't matter what happened to you. You're trying to find something positive in it, then you're gonna become more like happier and calmer person.
Well, because you're dealing with a lot of fighters that are coming from, Kazakhstan, Russia, Azerbaijan, Uzbekistan. These fighters, when they're coming over here, you have to deal with Thai dishes, which are completely different than the dishes coming from that region.
Yeah.
Do they ever complain about that, or is that something they find transitioning into Thailand? Is it easy for them?
Well, you know, in Thailand, you, like in any other country, probably as a foreigner, you can live in a bubble, you know. And all of us live in a bubble, but it depends on how big is your bubble and stuff like that. And you can have like a Russian food here. You know, you can, but for you, better, you know, you to broaden your experiences and for fighters, it's like first thing, like what the guy come to Thailand, I tell him, be careful on motorbikes, wear your helmet, use SPF, you know, the sunscreen.
Yeah.
You have to do it, and make sure you eat well, because you come here, it's different climate, you train hard. If you don't get the right nutrition, it's easy to get the infection, staph infection like that. Because I see people who never get like staph infections and see who gets them all the time. I believe it comes to the quality of your sleep, the quality of your nutrition, and hygiene, of course. So stuff I tell them, like the guys who come here, and most of them, they don't listen. And usually a couple of days later, you see them burned from the sun or from the motorbike accidents. But people learn, you know.
And so your fighters, you're having that like close personal relationship with them. If you see them ever, I'm assuming they're professionals, they're not stepping out of line, but it could be diet, it could be, I'm assuming they're not partying. Do you ever have to step any of them aside and talk to them, not just as a manager, but as a friend, to be like, hey, I think you need to be doing something different if you're going to be living here and succeed?
Yeah, like, of course, I feel responsible, and fighters trust me with their careers, and I try to do my best, you know. And but it also not only on me, you know. Some people, they expect like me being their like friend and brother, but they don't give it back to you, you know. Like, you expect me to treat you as a close friend, as a brother, but you don't treat me as a close friend, you know. It can't go one way, you know. It cannot go to one way. So with guys like this, I just keep it professional. What I have to do, I do it, you know. I don't go extra, because how can I go extra? Because we have to reach the different type of relationship together.
Yeah, it's like any relationship. You have to speak the same language, not literally, but how you treat someone, they should treat you back. And
yes.
If they're not going to do that, why would you talk to them any differently?
Yeah. So, you know, managing fighters, sometimes I compare it to having like multiple girlfriends or multiple wives. You know, they can get jealous of each other. They like can tell, oh, you treat this guy better. Like something can get into their head. But for me, personally, I know I treat everyone the same. Firstly, you have to be professional. I'm being professional. You have to do professionally all your side of things. And but we can always get to that next level of relationship. But it cannot go like one way, you know. And
a lot of your fighters coming over here as well, like they are Muslim. And that transition, especially in Phuket, because of it's more of a Muslim island as well. It's a mix of Buddhism, the Buddhist and the Muslim. Does that make it a much easier transition for them as well? Knowing that like if they need to go to the mosque, it's there. If they need halal food, it's there as well.
Yeah, definitely. You know, every Friday, guys go to the mosque here. Having a chance to get a halal food is great too. You know, so I believe it helps.
Yeah, because I'm sure maybe a city like, Singapore could be more difficult. But a lot of cities in the world, if you're living in Vegas, these things probably aren't as easy and accessible. And obviously then you're going to have that community as well. Before we wrap it up, one last thing. I came across you have a YouTube channel. I think it's got like close to 20,000, 16,000 subscribers. This channel, are you trying to promote? Was this something, how did that come together? Because I saw some vlogs you did with Fiziev, and I came across the channel. I'm like, I was just more interested of what was your intentions with that?
No, I never had a goal to have like promote my YouTube channel, to have a lot of subscribers or views. When I started doing it, my goal was just to show the fans the stuff they don't see, this behind the scenes stuff. So what fighters go through. So I made it to kind of educate the fans about the other side of the sport, and also I made it, to help promote my own fighters. And those vlogs, they kind of received a lot of views, because usually like video, I make a video, simple video, and it gets like 100, 200K views. But it's recently I started like it's harder for me to do it, because during the fight week I'm the manager first, not like a YouTuber or video blogger, So I stopped doing that, But a lot of people still keep like asking me, want me to do it.
Is that you filming and editing and doing it all in your, like, just as kind of a creative outlet for yourself?
It's just like fight week through my eyes, like you get a like first person view.
Traveling and living around the world, some people pick up the camera, it becomes a hobby. Is photography one of your hobbies that you picked up that you're passionate about?
It used to be when I was younger, but not really anymore. I don't really care about taking pictures too much anymore. But yeah, it used to be when I was younger.
Okay, and right before we wrap it up, just final question. If you weren't managing, MMA superstars or MMA, fighters as well, and this was not part of your career, what would you be doing, do you think, today?
Well, since I was a kid, I wanted to do some things that I love to do, not just a job to get the salary. So obviously, I believe I can find something else that I'm passionate about, that I love. I cannot say exactly what it is, but I believe I would find something that I'm passionate to work about, because I have some qualities that can be useful in other areas too, And me personally, I don't think that I'm gonna be like MMA manager my whole life, So I believe I can do something else too, After that, I can use the connections, the capital I earned through being MMA manager to do something else. But if it's something that brings some values to you, to other people, to the community, I believe it's good. I don't have a goal to like make crazy money and stuff like that. As long as I have some stuff that I love to do, I believe it's enough for me.
Well, maybe not a 56-year-old Russian co-PP tour guide. I don't know if that's
yeah, probably not.
Probably not. Okay, and if anyone's looking to reach out to you that maybe is up and coming, or they're coming to Phuket and they are looking for management, are you always looking for people to connect and reach out to you and have those discussions?
So because now I already have a good roster, so I'm mostly focused on the guys I already have. And for me to work with someone, obviously, I don't work with people that I never met, I don't work with people through online. I have some exceptions if like common friend recommended it. But usually, yeah, we have to build like some personal relation first, know each other first. And if I believe you have qualities to achieve something in the sport and you have trust in me as a manager, then we can work something out for sure. Yeah.
All right, perfect. Okay, well, that's about to wrap up another episode. We're about done. We're going to shoot it over to your camera over here. If you just want to let anyone know if there's anywhere they can find you, maybe especially for the YouTube video. I saw some interesting videos, again, behind the scenes of what's going on, and it's some cool content. Or if they want to follow you on Instagram, just let them know, and that's your camera there.
Yeah, so last couple of videos I did, they have like English subtitles, so if you're interested, you can watch it on my YouTube channel. I try to stay active on Instagram about the about my work. And of course, if you wanna meet me in person, you can come to Tiger Muay Thai, one of the best gyms, and with great people, great atmosphere. So welcome, always welcome.
Are you signing autographs down there too?
No, you people usually don't ask.
Has anyone ever asked? Have you got this?
No.
Okay, well,
For me, I believe it's weird to ask for autograph.
Yeah,
What you gonna do with it?
This is gonna be someone please go ask him down at Tiger. Get that first autograph. That's gonna mean something. Yeah, thanks a lot for joining us. So that wraps up another episode. We're going to air this not next week, the week after. Anyways, if you're watching, it's not live, so if you're watching, you're watching. Okay.
Thanks for having me.
Perfect. Yeah, thanks a lot.